Hello, students, and welcome back to our Word of the Week series as part of our English vocabulary focus. In this fourth video, we're going to focus on the word of the week being gaslight. And there's two different meanings that we're going to cover. So the word of the week is gaslight, and we're going to talk about the meaning. There are two meanings, I should say, in the dictionary that we should know. Two different kinds of sentence examples we can use, and some similar phrases uh, or kind of definitions or examples that we can use to describe what gaslight means in English. So we're going to talk about what kind of word it is first, give some examples, the definitions, and then talk about some phrases related to this word. So my name is Ben with English from A to Z, and let's get started. So what is the definition of gaslight? The word itself is gaslight. We're going to talk about the type of word, the meanings of the word, and some example sentences. Now, not every word in the English language has two types or three types. A lot of them are just a noun, a verb, um, or a pronoun, let's say, or something to that effect. But gaslight is both a noun and a verb. So it can be used in any part of the sentence. Um, it's an object. It's considered an object, and I'll talk about it in a little bit. But it's also a verb, so it kind of describes an action of some sort. So the meanings that we have for noun. Let's look at noun first, and we saw it in the picture here. It's an actual object. This is a gaslight. So a gaslight is a type of incandescent lamp with a mantle to hold it, which is heated by a jet of burning gas. And this was used for centuries up until, around the discovery of, lighting through electricity, for the light bulb. But you burn gas to kind of heat it, so it provides the lamp with energy. So basically, the gaslight is used on the go, kind of a more primitive form of lighting, but which was used for quite a while. Sometimes it's still used today to get around when it's dark out. But yeah, basically that's the noun version or meaning of the word gaslight. But it's also a verb, and a verb meaning is totally different. The definition is totally unique. So the verb is gaslight is to manipulate someone into questioning their own thought process or reasoning by challenging their beliefs using reverse psychology. Now, I don't want to get into the weeds about what reverse psychology is, but basically it's kind of questioning someone's beliefs or thoughts by challenging them, by kind of playing devil's advocate, or just trying to manipulate their actions to thinking that they did something wrong when they really didn't. I'm going to look at some examples first, describing the noun, how the noun is used in a sentence. Our first example for the noun definition of the actual object uh, begins like this. The author Edgar Allan Poe did not live in a time of electricity, so he had to use a gaslight in order to write his novel, The Raven. So he didn't have central lighting, he didn't have electricity set up throughout his house. So let's say he had to use a gaslight in order to write his novel, The Raven. He had to write by the lamp. The second is the legend of Sleepy Hollow would not be as scary if the town had access to more gaslights, so the town would not be as eerie. Basically, if there were more gaslights around, uh, there would be more light. It would be a little less scary or eerie. You can see where you're going. So, Legend of Sleepy Hollow, for those of you who don't know, is actually a kind of a horror story, fictional story, a legend, but talks about kind of how dark it is there and how eerie it could be. So, with gaslights, that wouldn't be a problem. So, that's kind of an example sentence I created. Number 3 and 4 talk about the verb of gaslight. What does it mean to manipulate someone? And what does it mean to question their beliefs or their thought process? The first example here is social media companies would gaslight teenagers by blaming them for using their applications too much, mobile applications, when they had made their applications addictive in the first place. So social media companies may blame teenagers for using TikTok or Instagram, for many hours. But let's be honest, in my view, personally here, social media companies make those same applications addictive so kids can't or teenagers can't turn away. So that's a really good example, I think, of gaslighting, blaming them for something that the social media companies basically did to manipulate their thoughts or their reasoning by making these social media applications addictive. Another example is even though Johnny had urged his brother Mark to steal from the cookie jar, Johnny ended up gaslighting, and we can use the ing here in the verb form, ended up gaslighting Mark by blaming him when they got caught by their mother later. So Johnny urged his brother Mark to steal from the cookie jar. Mark got caught, and then Johnny blamed Mark for getting caught, even though he urged Mark to steal from the cookie jar. So it's a little complicated, I know, but it's a really good verb and noun combination there to be aware of. So it's both a physical object, but it's also a verb. So in English, we sometimes have that where a noun will be totally different than the verb definition. And gaslight has been, used more and more recently, in my view. So I think it's good to know what it means. So manipulation is a huge part of the verb. Blaming someone, kind of urging them to do something wrong, even though they blame them later for getting caught, or it's kind of manipulating them to do something they don't want to do, and then blaming for them having done it. So yeah, I know that's a lot, but I hope you found these examples and the meaning useful for gaslight. Before we go, let's look at ways gaslighting can be used. Example phrases. So we're just kind of expanding on gaslighting, kind of that blaming someone or kind of using kind of reverse psychology to kind of blame someone even though that person may be at fault themselves. So somebody who's gaslighting you would say some phrases like "you're crazy," "I did it because I love you," "other people think you're crazy too," "I'm sorry you think that way," or that "you don't make any sense," "you're too sensitive," "that's not what happened," "you're overreacting," "you're being paranoid," "you're making things up," "that's your fault," "why are you always bringing up the past?" So this is just to expand on our vocabulary. So this doesn't have gaslight, the word itself there, but it's kind of other things people would say to you when they're gaslighting you or trying to blame you. So if somebody's judging you or blaming you, even though you didn't do anything wrong, or they're just kind of projecting themselves on you, just be aware that that involves gaslighting. And we have a kind of imaginative figure of someone who thinks that they care about you, but is actually not your friend or not someone you want to be, related, not be related to, but be associated with, I should say. So they'll say you're crazy, you're paranoid, you're overreacting, but they're actually gaslighting you. So they're kind of projecting their beliefs and emotions onto you and trying to manipulating them in other words. So thanks a lot for watching. I try to do kind of basic vocabulary, but this is more advanced vocabulary in the English language. I would consider gaslight, since it has two different definitions, two different meanings. It's good to dive deeper into what gaslighting is, what does it mean to gaslight, the verb there, and how is it applied in sentences. So check out our great YouTube videos, our other YouTube videos, from learning about English slang expressions to fixing your sentence errors. Please hit that subscribe button to follow us here on YouTube. Your support of our channel really makes a huge difference. And if you have any questions or would like to follow our newsletter, please go to our website, www.englishfromat2z.com/newsletter. And I'll see you all soon for another Word of the Week video. Thanks, and take care. Bye-bye.